Are you ready for next level growth in your business? Welcome to the Lindsay Anderson Show, where we pull back the curtain on the exact strategies, tools, and mindsets that build million-dollar empires. If you're hungry for more time, more freedom, and a whole lot more impact, you've come to the right place. Buckle up, because we're about to ignite your business journey. Now, here's Lindsay.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to this episode of The Lindsay Anderson Show. I'm so excited to welcome today's guest, Miss Jaime Ellithorpe. She is a business growth consultant, author, and founder of 540 Strategies, helping coaches and consultants generate leads and book appointments. Since 2021, her LinkedIn agency has blended outreach, email marketing, and automation to position clients as thought leaders and fill their pipelines with warm prospects. I'm so excited to bring her on today because her LinkedIn skills and strategy really is on point, and I can't wait to ask her all about it. Welcome to the show, Jaime. So excited to have you on today.
Thank you so much for having me, Lindsay.
So let's just dive in, Jaime. If you were to name one thing that you are known for, what would that be?
I'm known as the LinkedIn lady because the agency really was the thing that took off for me in my business. And I think the reason for that is people are starting to understand the power of LinkedIn. I think it's been a highly unutilized platform in the business space. And I think people are starting to recognize the power of human connection and the benefit that can bring not only to getting more clients, but growing their business and really creating a brand and name recognition in the online space.
And I would agree with you about LinkedIn. I think it's coming into its own, especially for business owners and being able to connect with high quality, real people. I feel like on other social media platforms and on Instagram and even TikTok, all those places, you don't even know who you're talking to. There's no resume behind it. Are you a real person? Where I feel like you can get real people on LinkedIn. Has that been your experience?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that LinkedIn is what I would call a two-way marketing. So, in so many of these other social platforms, you're putting content out there, you're trying to get thought leadership out there, but you're not necessarily getting any direct feedback. Of course, you've got the impressions and the likes and maybe a few comments along the way, but it's really kind of a one-way dialogue where I feel like LinkedIn is really human connection in an online world where you're getting instant feedback from the exact types of people that you want to put in your first degree network. And a lot of times, those are potential clients, those are potential business partners, those are people who do wonderful things like you inviting me to your podcast. And you're having that real relationship, unlike so many of the other social media platforms that are out there.
And I feel like in order to authentically sell and make more sales and grow your business, that authentic connection is really what's required in this world of so much competition and all of the AI. Our human connection really helps you make more sales. Has that been what you've experienced as well?
That's the heart of the philosophy of 540 strategies. About a year and a half ago, when all this AI was starting to explode into the marketplace and every marketer under the sun was going to town on chat GPT and all this stuff and selling all their bells and whistles, I thought, okay, what stance am I going to take as a marketer in this space? And I decided I'm going to take the best of both worlds, that our organization is going to leverage technology and automation to the fullest, compromising the real human connection and authenticity and building a real human relationship. So that's what we're about here. And I think that's how we've been different with a lot of our competitors on the LinkedIn platform is we're just not willing to sacrifice that real human relationship in order to try to make a sale. We really are about building relationships and not the quick pitch in the inbox before you even say hi to one another, that we really are working towards building a lasting relationship because so many other opportunities can come in the long term in that approach and not just the quick sale.
I love that. And I know that we agree on building authentic connections and conversations through DMs and reaching out to people. Before we dive into your strategy on that, can you tell me how content plays into the whole DMing and getting to know people strategy when it comes to social media for you?
Yeah. What I've learned is a multi strategy or multifaceted approach works best when it comes to marketing. And what I mean by that is you want to be seen and heard in different ways and in different mediums so that people have a chance to really get to know you. And also, you're not always 100% sure what your ideal market is going to resonate with and how they like to best be communicated with. So, content plays a huge role because sometimes people might get engaged with your content before they really even get engaged with you. So, it gives you a chance to build some expertise in your area, create some authority, give some really great knowledge to people who could become your potential clients. And it really just opens the door to them wanting to have a conversation with you.
Agree. And what kind of content do you recommend people put on LinkedIn?
I think it's a blend. I think a lot of it should be thought leadership content that's giving a lot of tips and ideas and simple things that people can implement in your area of expertise without giving away the farm. Because, of course, our products and our services are what's really going to make the change for people. We do have to be a little bit directive, and this is a tip. This isn't going to just make your dreams come true by doing this one thing, but if you do take this little piece of advice that I'm giving you, it is going to help along the way. Your content needs to be that, but you also need to open the door for people to step through to work with you. You do need to blend the occasional offer into a next step of whatever that content was about. You give them the content, you educate them a little bit, but if they want more, what's that next micro step? And that's how you want to end your content is you don't want to throw a pitch out there for your 6-month coaching program in a social post. But what would be the next step that might lead to that 6-month coaching program? Is that getting on the phone with you? Is that downloading a guide that explains more? Everything needs to line up to the end result, but you want to give it to people in baby steps so they don't get overwhelmed and it makes them feel more and more engaged with every little yes you get them to take towards where you want them to go.
That makes sense. What would your biggest tip on content be for people creating content on LinkedIn?
One of the biggest things is to sit down and create what I call messaging pillars. These are the three, maybe four big ideas that you have when it comes to your expertise in your business. You really want to put it by major subject. And in the marketing world, we call this marketing pillars. These are the biggest things that your brand is about. And then from that's where you find the little bits of content that you want to create around those pillars. I'll give you an example. Here at 540 Strategies, we believe there's three things that help heart centered entrepreneurs grow successful businesses. The first thing is having a great marketing and sales system. That's the outer strategies that's going to run your business and make sure that you're getting clients. But the second piece of that is your mindset. It's that inner game that you've got going on. And what I've seen in a lot of entrepreneurs is when we start to build the marketing systems, it's new and it's a little uncomfortable, and their mindset will sometimes sabotage getting uncomfortable. And then the third message that we have at 540 Strategies is manifesting. And what I mean by that is getting really clear and staying on point with where you're headed, not your current existing situation. Those are the three M's under 540 Strategies. And then all of our content is derived from those three key topics that the lead gen agency, for example, is a subset of marketing. I can talk about all different kinds of things under that marketing umbrella, or I could talk about things with mindset, or I could talk about things with how to be intentional with manifesting. It keeps you on point, and that also keeps you branded so that you don't go outside those topics and confuse people.
That's a great tip. Let's talk now. So, content is one part of making more sales and growing your business with social media. But let's hop into the conversations part, the people part, the DMing part. What's your strategy around that?
I say the art and the science of a conversation. In our very fast paced world, we don't have a lot of time to get our point across, meaning we connect with someone and we want them to do something. We don't have much time for that initial conversion piece. So you've got to be really, really tailored and really strategic in the conversations that you're having. But you've also got to make sure that you're being warm and authentic and not putting a pitch in too soon. Learning how to have a great conversation in between two, maybe four exchanges at the most is ideal for conversions when it comes to, especially with LinkedIn, because it is a networking platform. Think about the things that you want to know about your potential prospect. What are the things that are going to ensure that they're the right fit for you? Ask those questions in an open ended way to get to know them and get to know their stance on whatever that subject is. And that will help you drive it to, hey, let's talk more about this.
Who am I having that conversation with? Am I friending everybody that LinkedIn recommends, everybody that's commented on my post? Who do I know? Who to connect with? And when do I send this message, Jamie?
Yeah, absolutely. We teach our clients, and what we do strategically in the agency is we absolutely don't connect with everyone. We want this to be a very dialed in, very concentrated first degree network. So if you've had any experience with marketing, this is called your target audience. You can essentially create a target audience on LinkedIn just like you would by maybe doing Facebook ads or something like that. You need to dial your network in just like you were going to put an ad out there and get really clear on who are you wanting to add to your network, because that's what's going to drive where you're headed next in business. So you don't necessarily want a mix of just everybody. Before I got into this professionally, I think I had about 1,000 connections. Most of those people are old friends from high school and college and where I grew up and my former jobs. And while they're fantastic people, they're probably not the ideal fit for my business. So that's why you want to get really clear on who you're reaching out to, because you really want to maximize everything that you're doing.
Okay, so you start hitting add connection request on LinkedIn. What's the next step?
Yeah. So the next step is the engagement piece. That's when you want to start really building a rapport with that new connection, getting to understand who they are, getting to understand really maybe why they're on LinkedIn, if LinkedIn has something to do with your business, and just figuring out what it is they want in life or business, because that's going to uncover whether they have the types of problems that your products and services solve. So being able to do that in a very conversational way, but also very directed, because you want them to take the next step, whatever that is, if they meet the criteria of what you're looking for.
So, can you give us an example message that you would send to somebody who has recently, a stranger, we'll say,
Yeah.
that has accepted your connection request?
Yeah. So I usually just throw out what we call an icebreaker question. It's something kind of general, but it's something that spurs people to start talking to you. So one of the things that we use in our agency is, hey, Lindsay, I see you're in the marketing space. That's interesting. What prompted you to get in that industry? And it's funny, like that's a simple question, but it's really been an interesting question for a lot of people because it makes them think. So those types of questions are what bring curiosity about for people, what they want to continue to engage with you because you brought value, maybe by getting them to think about something that they had never thought of before. And those types of questions are what open the door to continuing down the path of conversating with them.
I like that. What is the strategy then? So, you're having this conversation in the DMs. How do we bring them to that next step? How do we make it a real relationship?
Yep. So I liken it to dating. In the dating relationship, you meet somebody, you start texting, and you're asking maybe some questions to get to know one another. But after a while, it gets really weird if there's not a next step. Like you're expecting that other person to say, hey, let's meet up for coffee, or hey, would you like to go to a movie next weekend? And if that next step never happens, then it gets really awkward and weird, right? You don't want to just meet a new person and then all of a sudden they're asking you to go to dinner and you don't even know what their middle name is, right? Or something like that. So you really need to gauge the conversation that you're asking for the right things at the right time. You don't want to come across too quick because then that comes off as pushy, but you also don't want to go for a really long time in an inbox for, say, 3 weeks asking someone endless questions, or they're going to start to wonder, what is this really all about? To time it where you put that next step in at the right place.
Now, you also have a strategy where you invite people to a connection call. Is that right?
Absolutely. That's typically what we do for most of our clients because LinkedIn is a networking platform. So you really want to stay within the spirit of what the platform was designed to do. And I would say that for any social platform is go back to the basics and use it the way it's intended, because Your audience is expecting that. So on LinkedIn, and a lot of people I see in the LinkedIn space, they're pitching me in the connection message. They're wanting me to do something before I've even connected with them. So that goes back to that dating approach. That's really weird. That's like meeting someone and them going, "Hey, you want to get married?" That's a put off to most people. So you want to stay within the spirit of LinkedIn. So that's why you want to build a little bit of engagement and a little bit of know and trust before you start taking the next step into whatever business potentiality that is.
That makes sense. That makes sense. One of your tools would be to invite them to a 15-minute connection call. Is that right?
So what we teach people is an initial call that lasts anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes. And it is a networking call. It is getting to know one another. It is learning more about each other personally and professionally. But in that call, it's strategic in the fact that you're asking the right questions to uncover what that person wants out of life or business in relationship to what it is that you do, and then figuring out what's stopping them or holding them back from getting that thing. And so that opens up the door of opportunity to turning it into whatever your next step is, whether that's a demo call, whether that's a consult, whether that's another meeting of some kind, but leveraging what LinkedIn was designed to do in the first place, which was to be a networking tool.
What are some common obstacles that you have found that people struggle with when it comes to making these authentic networking connections on LinkedIn?
Yeah. So essentially, that's why we're hired, Lindsay. Having a conversation really is an art and a science. And I see a lot of people fumble the football at different stages. So, number one, the connection request message has to be the right message. So, you don't want it to be too salesy, but you also want it to be something of common bond for someone to want to connect with you. I see a lot of people not really know what to do with that. Oh my gosh, I have a new connection. Now what? That's that conversation piece. And so that's what me and my team do is for a lot of our clients, we manage that entire piece for them. So we're creating the new connections and we're doing the conversation that's doing the initial engagement and warming it up. And then the next conversion piece where I see people fumble the football is they don't know how to turn that conversation into that next step. So we're having this great talk. We're talking about our kids, the weather, where we're from. But now you've got to transition that into them taking the next step. And that's a little bit of an art and a science to be able to do that. So that's the piece that we handle. And then we're booking the appointments for our clients. The next piece that I see people fumble is now that they're on the call, they're not sure how to transition that from a networking call into another next step. So there's a lot of conversion that goes through each step of this process, but the process is good because you really are building an authentic, long lasting relationship if you're willing to take all the necessary steps.
Yes. Yeah. And it is like building a relationship and investing in those relationship bank accounts. Like it doesn't just happen overnight. You have to be patient with it. You want to make sure that this is a process that you're doing all the time so that people are coming along the line at all times. And that brings me to my next question, which is what do you say to people who are like, that is just so many conversations for me to handle or for like just so much to do?
So, other than doing lots of fancy marketing and investing a lot of money in advertising, the fastest paid business that I've seen, not only in my business, but in others' business, is a referral. And the reason why I think that works so beautifully is because you've taken the time to build an authentic relationship with someone. When they recommend a meeting with you, I would say 80 to 90% of all of those hurdles that we're using marketing and advertising for, they've already been overcome. So by the time that new person comes to meet with you, they're ready to talk about the problem that they have. And really, all they're doing is vetting to see if the solution that you have makes sense and the price point is at a good point for them. Those are really the two objections at that point. You've overcome so much without having to do traditional marketing. And so that's the real gold, I think, on LinkedIn. Yes, the direct business is going to come. The hidden gold is the referral network that you build. And when those people just start coming to you, that's when you're just feeling like, boy, everything's just landing. It's like a basketball game. You're just shooting those three pointers and they're all just landing beautifully in the basket. That's how that referral business starts to feel after a while.
What is something, if somebody wants to get started and start taking LinkedIn seriously and these strategies that you've shared with us seriously, what is something that they can do daily that will help them start achieving this goal?
Yeah. So I would say get really intentional about who you want to connect with on LinkedIn. Are you looking for potential clients? Are you looking for referral partners? Are you looking for opportunities? And when you start to dial in what that looks like, that will help you clue in on the types of people that you want to connect with because they're the people that are going to get you to where you want to go. And once you do that, then be very intentional about the people you're asking to connect with and also be very intentional about the people that you're accepting into your first degree network because when you're clear on who you're looking to bring into your network, it's really easy to vet who you want in your network and who you don't want in your network. So that would be step one. Start having conversations with as many of those people as you can.
What do you see as the future of LinkedIn, Jamie?
I really feel that LinkedIn is an underserved platform that many people have not taken seriously. I was one of those people about 4 years ago myself. I thought when I was in corporate, it was a place to get a job. So that's how, by happenstance, I got my first 1,000 connections on LinkedIn. But where I see this headed is I think since the pandemic, especially because we were so isolated, people are looking for that human to human connection in a virtual way. And I think LinkedIn can be the perfect place for that if done well. And that's where 540 Strategies is and will continue to head is building real authentic relationships with people all over the country, if not all over the world, but creating it in a space that feels authentic, just like we were in the same room.
Now, what is one thing you've done so much? You've been at corporate, now you're running a successful agency. What is one thing you wish you would have known when you got started?
Yeah. So I wished I would have known that I needed a system, just like the systems that we build for clients. I did not understand that when I left my corporate job. At the time, I had been doing a lot of in person networking on the side, after hours, early mornings, things like that around my corporate job. If I could go back to my corporate days, I would have built the system that I built for 540 Strategies as it is today, and also those same systems that we build for our clients. I think that's why a lot of people aren't making the money they want to make and they feel that they're on that roller coaster that they might have a good month and then a bad month. And it's because they don't have a consistent pipeline that's bringing opportunity into their business week in and week out. The system is what does that for you.
Jamie, it's been a real pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much for sharing all of your wisdom and knowledge here. We've really appreciated it. Before I let you go, I'm going to turn the time over to you. Let the audience know how to find you and anything else you want them to know.
Absolutely. So my ridiculously long last name is right here. Find me at jamie.com. You can also find more about the work we do at 540strategies.com. And I am on LinkedIn, please find me on LinkedIn and let me know that you watch the podcast. I'd love to connect with you and see what I can do to help you turn your LinkedIn profile into a lead generator for your business.
Thank you, Jamie, for being on the show.
Thank you.
There you have it, folks. Another really awesome episode of The Lindsay Anderson Show. Now, if you're looking to generate high quality leads on social media, creating content, and doing the strategies that Jamie and I talked about in this show, I have an upcoming live workshop where I will be presenting to you my 4-step strategy on how to do just that. All you need to do is head over to lindsay.com/workshop. Put your name and email in, get signed up for that workshop, and I will see you there. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of The Lindsay Anderson Show. Cheers to you and your success.
That's a wrap for today's episode of The Lindsay Anderson Show. If you loved this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share how you're leveling up your business. Want more? Connect with Lindsay Anderson and get the tools you need to crush your goals at lindsaya.com. Until next time, keep pushing, keep growing, and turn those business dreams into reality.